Grin and bear it. It was late afternoon on Thanksgiving Day, and our little family, Beth, myself, and our young daughters, were in the parsonage alone enjoying a traditional turkey dinner. Beth noticed first.
Oh no, you lost a tooth. Yes, you lost a tooth from your bottom denture in the middle.
Sure enough, a front tooth out of my lower plate was gone. Now, I know that the Bible tells us to give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. And again, the scriptures say, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Philippians 4:6. Nevertheless, at that moment, I was certainly not feeling very thankful, and I was worried. I knew that losing an artificial tooth was not the end of the world. Call it vanity or just being self-conscious. However, as a pastor who would be standing up front preaching on Sunday, I knew my missing tooth would certainly be visible. Furthermore, at that time we were about as financially strapped as a family could be, paying school and medical bills, as well as driving a vehicle which was on its last leg. It would be quite a while before we could afford to have my plate fixed. What was I going to do? For some unexplainable reason, my thoughts started drifting to the freezer sitting in the garage. I especially started thinking about the black bear skull I had wrapped up in a black garbage bag. At first, I dismissed the idea, but soon I found myself standing in the garage, digging through the freezer. I removed the contents from the bag. The more I looked at the teeth in the skull, the more it seemed like a real possibility. I dashed to the toolbox and pulled out a pair of pliers and got a sharp knife. By that evening, the tooth had been filed down to fit in place and was firmly held with the glue mixture normally used by taxidermists. That first bear tooth lasted several months, then back to the freezer I went for another. No one other than Beth and our girls knew about my unusual use of bear teeth until about 6 months later when I told my parents and siblings. Their initial response to this strange revelation varied greatly. My dad thought it was hilarious, while Mom expressed grave concern.
Tom, you could get a disease or something.
Well, I have noticed that I want to sleep a lot, and I now have the strange desire to dig around in garbage cans.
That's not funny, Tom. I worry about you.
My sister Deb was primarily inquisitive. She peered into my mouth, wondering exactly which tooth it was.
Tom, which one is it? Oh, right there? I can't even tell.
On the other hand, my brother Kelly said something which made me feel good.
Is that really a bear tooth?
Yes?
That's the kind of thing legends are made of.
It was about a year and a half before I finally got a new partial. But I have to tell you that even now, years later, I am still grateful for that bear. In fact, God was thanked numerous times for that black bear. Not only was I grateful for the opportunity I had to harvest this creature, which was my first bear, but the Lord was also thanked at every meal where we served bear steaks, bear sausage, or bear burgers. Indeed, we found bear to be one of those foods which God created to be received with thanksgiving. 1 Timothy 4, verse 3. But most of all, I'm thankful that this bear gave me the ability to grin without being too self-conscious. And you never know. Perhaps someday this same bear might even make me a legend. Now, you probably laughed a little at this true story, and I'm glad you did. However, at the time, it was not very funny. In fact, it was rather pathetic. And I have to admit that bear teeth are kind of a strange thing to be thankful for. But if you stop to think about it, there are probably some strange things for which you have been thankful. Maybe it's the job you didn't get, the school you couldn't attend, the house deal that fell through, or the relationship that didn't work out. It's certainly not easy or even natural to be thankful, but some of the difficult things you are experiencing today may prove to be the very things you are most thankful for tomorrow.
Dr. Tom Rako has pulled together 60 hunting and angling devotionals. Every entry has a selected Bible passage to read and a story or personal experience tied into the scriptural point. Some of the titles for entries found in devotions for hunters and anglers include Buck Fever, The Antlered Doe, Catfish Corner, Barnyard Buck, Rabbit Hunt Romance, The Prodigal Pooch, A Case of Pheasant Forensics, Once in a Lifetime Moose Hunt, and Grin and Bear It. You don't have to hunt or fish to enjoy this book. It's a great read for anyone, young or old. To order your copy of Devotions for Hunters and Anglers by Dr. Tom Rako, go to the Rock Dove Publications website, rockdove.com. Visit rockdove.com today.